How you start your website should be like how you start your day. I like to start with a fresh shave and a filtered shower. Then I'll prepare a fresh cup of Brita water to heat it up.
He's heating up.
Before I get a scoop or two of fresh ground coffee. I'll pour in the hot water into my French press. Then I'll let it brew, and this is where you gotta be patient, y'all. So in the meantime, I'll continue preparing by adding almond milk, because the regular milk just don't do the body good, if you know what I mean. Let's top it off with a little bit of that sugar, and yes, I said sugar, right before we press that launch button. And now it's time for blast off. Let's go! Woo! Oh yeah, and don't forget to stir it up some to blend in those flavors.
He's on fire.
And that's how we start fresh on WordPress.
He's on fire.
Welcome to lesson 2. In this lesson, we're going to discuss a few things you may want to think about when setting up your WordPress website for the first time. If you're already familiar with WordPress, this may just be an overview or a few new perspectives you may want to think about. In order to demonstrate some of the things that I want to talk about, I want to use one of my favorite platforms called InstaWP, because it gives us the ability to create staging sites, or you can call them demo sites. And it does it in a very easy and seamless way where you don't even have to think about it. You can just click a couple of buttons and now you have a website ready to go, and you can just use it for demo purposes, or you can use it for other purposes as well too. You would just go to instawp.com and you can click this try InstaWP for free. You click that button, put in your name and your email, look out for the notification that they give you to verify your account. And next thing you know, you're here in the back end of InstaWP. And the first tab you're most likely going to see is your dashboard. But we're going to click on this staging tab here. This is where you typically would create your new site. You can always do it from the dashboard as well here too. It says create your first staging site. But say it's your second site, you would create your second staging site here. InstaWP is very generous where they give you 3 free staging sites and enough storage to be able to add some plugins and do a few things. However, at the time of this video, if I'm not mistaken, these staging sites are set to expire in 6 days. So if you want to move your website off of InstaWP to another hosting, I would suggest you use a migration method. InstaWP also has the ability to migrate sites with their InstaConnect plugin very easily, but we'll save that for later. So if I were creating a new site, or if I were you creating a new site, I would click this button that says plus new. And you're gonna see this interface here, this pop-up menu here that gives you the ability to pre-package or add plugins to your website before you even get in your website. Not just plugins, but themes as well too. I've already set up the ability for me to be able to have a theme and a plugin already on my website, but we ain't here for that. We're just gonna create an empty site right here. So that's why you see 0 themes, you see 0 plugins. You can also see, now this is more for people who are more into WordPress when it comes to the details of the versions and the PHP, you know, a little bit of more of that developer nerd talk. I'm not just saying only developers talk about these topics, but I'm just saying that that's normally where you're going to hear a lot of these terminologies are for people who are more advanced in WordPress. So the WordPress version, the PHP, the location, other things like that. Now on the free plan with InstaWP, you can't change any of these. The only one that you're able to change is the WordPress version, but we're gonna keep everything as it is because InstaWP typically sets their default settings at for general users or for the average user. Then you can go in there and customize things as you please. So I'm gonna click this create site button here and look at how fast it just created the site. All I have to do next is create this magic login button. Before I do that, I just want you to see some of the details here. You have the URL, you have a username, and you have a password. You don't even need these things. So when you're back here in InstaWP, all you have to do is click this magic login button or click this magic login button here. I'm gonna click this magic login button, let it do its do, and voila, I'm right inside of WordPress. This, for beginners, is gold. Now, for advanced users, for longtime users of WordPress, this is still gold for us. But for beginners, oh my goodness, this is dope as, and because of that reason, it just makes diving into WordPress so much easier. You don't have to even have any other hosting platforms. You don't even have to buy hosting just to learn WordPress, just to get into it. You can use InstaWP, whip up a new staging site, and well, bam, you right here in WordPress looking at the latest version of WordPress. I'm going to dismiss these banners here, and now we have a blank slate. So just to get you familiarized with WordPress, because I'm going to save a more detailed way of setting up your WordPress website in another course. In this course, I just want to give you an overview and ideas of what you want to think about when building out your WordPress website for the first time. If you're new to WordPress, as you can see here, we have posts, we have a tab media, we have pages, we have comments, appearance, plugins, users, tools, and settings. Without you having any other special plugin or a reason why you would see something different, this is the typical default WordPress interface. This is what most people are going to see for the first time entering into WordPress. The first thing that I did was I got rid of a banner in the dashboard area. So that's why I just skipped the dashboard area when I was listing out the rest of these tabs in the menu, because we're already here. You have home, you have updates, but we ain't got no updates because we're on the fresh and the latest version of WordPress. Now, when you want to configure your WordPress settings, your default settings, because that's where I would advise the first place that you go, you're going to want to go here into this settings menu. And then you're going to want to hover over it. You can click it if you want, or you can hover. If you click it, it's going to go directly to the general settings here. This is where you would add your site title, your tagline, your icon, if you already don't have a theme, and fill out other information on your website that would make sense for your business or for your brand. It's the same thing for the rest of these settings here. For writing, you typically aren't going to really touch this except for this area up here. These settings here, most people aren't going to need to touch. For reading, you definitely want to set your home page. When you get a home page, when you have other pages on your website, you want to set up your home page. You're most likely not going to touch anything here unless you have specific reasons when it comes to your blogging. But hey, do your thing. And for search engine visibility, this is another area here where if you want to discourage search engines from indexing the site, you would have it checked. If you don't want to discourage search engines from indexing your site, you can uncheck it. All that means is it giving Google or the search engines, but I'm saying Google because Google pretty much is most of what we search on. It's giving Google a indication that you do or you don't want your site to be seen in Google. Now, when I say it's giving an indication, it doesn't mean it's telling Google this is what you better do. All it's doing is letting Google know this is what I prefer. Google's allowed to do what they're going to do. That's why it says it's up to the search engines to honor this request. So just keep that in mind. For the discussion, you can also fill out your discussion, and this has a lot to do with your commenting and your blogging. For media, if you want to change up the media settings, this is where it would be here. Permalink, your URL, same thing. If you want to change that up, this is where it's going to be. And then your privacy policy. The cool thing about WordPress is it already creates a default privacy policy that you can just edit. But you can also change your privacy policy to another page as well too. So when it comes to setting up WordPress for the first time, this is normally the area where you will want to do it. You will want to start here with your settings and then go from there. For adding plugins and themes, some people have different processes. Some people add plugins first, then their theme. Some people add a theme first and their plugins. There is no right or wrong answer. But when it comes to your theme, you want to go to Appearance and go to Themes and then click Add New Theme. And this is where you can add the themes that you would want to use. Now, you can only activate one theme at a time, but you can have multiple themes on your website. So just keep that in mind. You can only have one active theme at a time, but you can have multiple themes. You can install multiple themes on your website. There's nothing wrong with that because you may want to test out themes for different reasons. So it's okay to install multiple themes, but you can only have one active at one time. For plugins, this is the area where I see people get caught up in the most. This is where people make the most mistakes when it comes to building out their website and using technologies, aka the plugins, to build their website because they just add anything, or they don't do a good job on vetting the plugin, looking at cues or certain hints, clues, certain proof of concept, social proof, just ways that you can say, okay, this technology I'm adding is good. It seems that it's going to be good with my other technologies. You got to look at those things. It's very, very important. And what's cool about this process here is you can utilize the previous lesson when it comes to the website strategy and your tech stack and the technology in order to guide you on what you should even be using when you're back here in the WordPress repo or WordPress repository. You can use any word, doesn't matter. But when you're back here and you're searching for plugins, this is where when you built out your strategy, you're going to utilize a lot of the technology in your tech stack. You're going to find that right here. So that's why I say do your due diligence. Build out your website strategy first. Choose your technology, list out your technology. Then when you set up your WordPress website and you go back here, this is where you want to add your plugins. And now you know what plugins to add. Now you're not always going to find the plugin that you want back here. Sometimes there are developers that only offer their plugins on their own website, and that's okay too. Just make sure you do your homework so that way you know that they're a verified developer. They're good to go, and you're not going to have as many crazy problems in the future. You want to future-proof your website as much as possible. So again, this is the area where you want to add your plugins, and this is the area where you want to add your theme right here. Then once you add your plugins and your theme, you want to think about how you're going to maintain your website. That's where a maintenance something is going to help you out. So what we've done is we've created a maintenance manual and a maintenance checklist. So that way you can then pair your website strategy with the technology you're using and how you're going to maintain the website as well. So for your maintenance manual, we've created a template, and I'll link that in the description below. And with this manual, it's just a starting point. So that way you can write out all the technical information and details that are involved in maintaining your website on one document that not only you can have, but you can pass on to your team or whoever's helping you with your website. And that way, they'll ask you less questions when it comes to what do you have? What is this? Where is it at? What's the password? Who's the hosting? Whoever is helping you should ask questions about your website so they know how to help you. And if you're helping yourself, you should still be asking yourself questions about your own website. However, the answers to a lot of those questions could easily be found on a website maintenance manual. So again, this is the area where you want to jot down all the details of your website. The technical information, what is the schedule going to look like of maintaining your website, aka your tasks. So you're going to have daily tasks, you're going to have weekly tasks, you're going to have monthly tasks, you're going to have annual tasks. What are those tasks? We've already written out what most of those tasks should be. However, you can go in here and edit this yourself that will fit your business or your website maintenance process. You also have roles. So yes, you've written down the task or tasks that your website maintenance is going to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly interval. However, who's going to be doing these tasks? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be a staff member? Is it an agency? Is it a freelancer? Is it your family member? whoever it is, it doesn't matter. You need to know those roles, and it's helpful when you have them written out, like the name, the contact information. What exactly are they doing? So are they helping out with software updates? Are they helping out with server maintenance? Are they helping out with backups and technical support? What are they helping with? Who are they, and what is their contact information? So that way you can hand this document if you printed it out, or you can click a button and send the document to whoever needs it, whoever's relevant towards you, helping you with your website, and they can see exactly who it is and how to get in contact with them if they need to do so. And then we have a few troubleshooting or things that people typically will have problems with when it comes to their website or to WordPress in general. And this is just a few things that'll help give you some confidence or help give you some answers or direction when it comes to troubleshooting your website. So we wanted to make sure that we had this section as well on your website maintenance manual. And then when it comes to checking off the things that are being done on your website, or sometimes not checking them off, which we should be checking them off, we've created a easy DIY or an easy checklist for you to be able to say, hey, okay, I know who's doing what, I know what needs to be done. Now we need to have a way to be able to make sure it's getting done, to make sure we can see it has been done. That's where a checklist comes in. So you can easily just use this template as well to say, hey, we have daily and weekly and monthly and yearly tasks. It got done this month. It got done today. It got done this year. Easily from a check, just checking off your list. Easy peasy. That's how it should be. So when you pair your website maintenance checklist with your website maintenance manual and your toolkit, whatever tech stack you're using, when you pair those together with your website strategy planner, you have a powerful combination of assets to use to not only strategize your website, planning it out, but also setting up your website and maintaining it. That right there is a huge benefit to creating a long-term or a sustainable website process, because you know what you're using, why you're using it, how it's going to be used, who's going to be maintaining it, and how we're going to make sure it is being maintained. In lesson 2, we've discussed how you can set up your WordPress website for long-term value and engagement, for sustainable practices. So that way you don't end up creating a website that just breaks down in a few days or a couple months, or gets all tangled up that you don't even know how to fix it. If you just use some of these methods that I taught you in this video, you should be setting up your website for success. That is the whole purpose of this lesson, is you setting up your website for success. If you got any value out of this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. My name is Maestro Stevens with Iconic Templates, and I'm out. Peace.